This is an introduction to Python. In this first video I am going to explain to you the purpose of these hashtags and also how to output text to the main console window, which is this black area at the bottom of my screen. Now my program has 3 hashtags at the top. What a hashtag does, it tells Python that the text that follows is not part of the code. So it is a comment in my code to help the person looking at the program know or understand what it is I am trying to do. So it is good practice to have your name at the top, so whoever's looking at your code knows who's created the code, the date that the code was created or when it was last updated, and a short description just explaining what the code is supposed to do. You can add further hashtags throughout your program to explain sections of code which might be a little bit complicated, or it might not be clear what it is you're trying to achieve. Now, the first program I'm going to write uses the print function. Now the print function is followed by a set of brackets. Any text needs to be within apostrophes or speech marks. So my first program is Hello World. When I run it, you can see on the console window at the bottom, Hello World has appeared, and it will be exactly the same if I use apostrophes instead of hashtags. Sorry, not hashtags, speech marks. It'll do the same thing. I can also output values. So for example, the number 12 is an integer. That is not a string. So an integer is a whole number. Now this is useful because if I do 12 plus 16, just put space in. The spaces aren't important. I'm just putting them there just for presentation reasons. So if I run that, you can see it will actually add the numbers together. If I put that in apostrophes, it turns the whole thing into a string, so you get a different result. Now what I can do is use what is called a variable to store a value. So in this example I'm going to have 2 variables, one called num1, one called num2, and then at the bottom here I can say print num1. When I run this, it outputs the value in the variable num1. I can put in here plus num2. Again, spaces aren't necessary here, I'm just adding them to improve the presentation. I could create another variable, so I could have num3 equals num1 plus num2, and then here I'll print num3, which gives you the value 29. Okay, I'm going to create a variable called age. I'm going to say I'm 21 years old, and I'm going to have name equals, and that's going to be Mr. Vaughan. Now in my print command I'm going to say name, comma, and then is, and that's in apostrophes, comma, age, comma, years old. Now what this will do, it will join whatever is in the variable name to the string is, and it uses the comma to join them together. Without the comma it won't work. I then join that onto age using the comma. I join that onto years old. So when I run this, it says Mr. Vaughan is 21 years old, which I'm obviously not. This is called concatenating. So it's concatenated the value held within age onto a string within the print statement and displayed it all on screen.